It is July the 1st, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray wreck site, the St.simons Sound. And happy July! Sometime between yesterday afternoon and this morning, the cut was completed on Section 3. And not only have they made the cut, moved the VB back with the section, they had it almost out of the water this morning by the time we got out there. We left, got news that it had happened, so headed down to the Minorcan Mullet and headed out. We were out there probably by 10 o'clock this morning. And yeah, she's separated. She is up. And I guess the next step will be they will probably work on a little weight shedding with the water cannons like we've seen before they place it on the dry dock system for transport into the Port of Brunswick. But we took a ride around and got some pretty good video and some probably even better photography out at the site today. And you can really see the difference now. You can, when we think about when this process started, 655 feet of ship out in the Sound on its side, and now we're left with three sections, and which just two more cuts, and that'll yield these three pieces to be removed from the Sound. One thing we did notice today that was missing, that we have always seen out there the day after our cut's completed, was the helicopter. We didn't see the air support up like we have typically seen before, and that was probably missed today by those surface craft that were out doing the debris cleanup. And we'll get to that in just a couple minutes while we make our way around. And another thing that we noticed, and we got some shots of this coming up too, you can really tell just how much damage was done in the section from the fire by the discoloration inside the ship. And once we get around and get some angles there, you'll be able to really notice that damage as it related to the heat generated by that fire back on May the 14th. Here we've got a shot of the cut, and you can really see how jagged it was coming down through there. They had some trouble with some really tough structural material in there. A couple of times caused them some problems, but finally made it through. Now we have Section 3 hanging on the VB 10,000. Here we can see that heat damage. You can see those areas in there, those rust areas in there in that shot of the problem when they had that fire and just how high it got up on the ship. discoloration here, almost like this, the really sooty of the decks where that fire was. Just you think about how massive that fire was, and how it looks like it was just contained to those 3, maybe 4 decks in there. Pretty interesting when you see it from this perspective. As the ship comes up and it's straightened out and leveled out, you can kind of see how the tidal line is, and you can also see just how much of the ship was submerged. You can remember that they brought out the blue grapple machine, pulled as many cars out of it as they could reach. Yet, once we start looking into that section, you still see there are quite a few vehicles that were underneath the water that the grapple could not get to, and you just really understand how much of that ship is underneath the water and how many vehicles are stacked up down there. Even with all the effort they did of getting as many as they could off of the ship, off this section, once you start looking at there, you can really see how many are still on board this section 3. Now, the environmental boats were out working as hard as they could today. They were pulling booms and picking up debris, but there was a good bit of oil we saw on the water while we were out there when this was going on. Again, kind of missing that helicopter, that air support to help direct the surface vessels on their quest to pick up this debris and kind of round up that oil that was kind of seeping by and getting by this area. There's a lot of area to cover, and I think we counted that 4 boats were out with boom, and then the 2 or 3 boats they had out grabbing up the debris. Not quite as many as we have seen in the past working the site when the separation happens. And of course, that's when they have the biggest problem with pieces and parts, and seems like once the separation happens, we do see a good bit of oil that comes out. And of course, the environmental barrier still has gaps in it, and it eventually will find its way out. Well, hey, Section 3 is done. That's going to make the report for today. We're going to be gone for a little while. If anything breaks, if we get any news, we will let you know. We're planning on bringing a little something else to you over the next week. But we're going to ask, if you haven't done it, hit that subscribe button, send us some comments, and most of all, you guys stay safe out there.